Chief People Officer, also called a Chief Human Resource Officer or Vice President of People, is the head of HR at a company. A member of executive leadership team, the CPO is responsible for setting and overseeing the execution of business overall people strategy. I, Shaurya, on behalf of the Ladder podcast channel, welcome you all to this episode in series of interviews. Today's panelist is a gunner officer who has 19 plus years of experience in people domain at Indian Army, Renault Nissan Technical Centre, Renault India and Coca-Cola. Captain Pranav is an alumni of IIM Lucknow and Officers Training Academy, Chennai. He has a doctorate in business management and human resource development from Swiss School of Business and Management. He is also an author and publisher of novels called Those Unknown and Fallen Few. So without wasting much of our time, let us directly begin the interview with our panelists today. Please tell us about your experience as HR head in Coca-Cola and Renault.
In Coca-Cola, I was the national HR head and head of HR. So before that, when I was making my career in HR, of course, when I had the manager profile when I left army, and I was given a responsibility of the team there. So it's all fascinating. The learning, what you learn at either in army or in the civil street, or the learnings which you get from your life, it's always great. And if you are that person who is a seeker, who wants to learn a lot, who wants to be with in the moment, I think for that a person, it is a great thing. People management is one of the core of leadership. And COVID was a time that we all learned our own lessons. But yes, people management is one of the segment even which is most I will say given a stepmotherly treatment, because people are in corporate, people are more focused on the revenue, more focused on the operations, more focused on the marketing, and how the growth and the expansion is happening. But we are the people who make those people, and these people make the organization. So when I tell you this, this small cohort of us who work very closely with the team, build the team from the recruitment to the separation, right? In different facets of HR. Once we align and we see the movements happening, it is a great delight. Renault per se, Renault Nissan, if I have to tell you, because our success depends on the success of the product. So if a product is conceptualized, and car making is quite a heavy, huge, cost intensive business, and also it takes almost like 4 to 5 years to 3 to 5 years actually to make a car, different phases and different levels of it. So what the guy we recruit today, and if he was working for the project, he will see the product after almost 4ish years, right? So it is a beauty. It is quite a satisfactory feeling. And once you see people growing and the way they develop, as the succession planning, the talent management pipeline, the things what you see, it is great to see that you grow with the people, and people grow with you, and the organization grows. So that's what it is. Coke was very small stint. It was hardly 6 months I worked there, but again a great learning. They say that welcome to the Coke side of life, and you see the real happiness. You see the people, of course, in both the industry, automotive and FMCG. If I say, people are quite steady. If I tell you that you have people who work on an average, let's say 10 years in such companies, it is quite uncalled for in the civil street. So with God's grace, I got good companies and good leaders to work with. They gave me good opportunities, and the learnings in all the, if I include my all the years of working, almost like 2 decades of working as a people leader, has been quite a great experience for me.
What are the relevant certifications and upskilling done by you for this HR role, sir?
So this is quite a myth, and I want to break it, because when we transition from army to or forces to civil street, people generally, and also generally the way our grooming is done. So a lot of preparation we want to do, but here my thing is more than the preparation. you have to be aware what is happening in the ecosystem. So if you ask about certifications, there are a number of certifications which is available. I will not mention the organizations which let you do this. But of course, if I talk about categories, then there are many certifications starting from the talent acquisition, to leadership development, to training, to talent assessment, to comp and ben, to payroll. There are n number of certification which is available. But if you want my advice, these things are only done, and organizations will teach you such things. It is only that once you come in the organizations, once you have first is found yourself what you want to do, right? Even I see a lot of people doing ISO certifications for themselves, and also project management certification, which is quite a vogue in forces, right? So from my side, first is find your category where you want to make your career. I don't support that do any certification in advance, but yes, some certifications, basically because when we join army we are bachelors, or many guys they are masters also. If you have completed your masters in between from a rightful universities in whatever form and fashion these days, a lot of specializations are also available in terms of analytics, data analytics, human HR, in HR, in project management, data sciences. So a lot of things. It is a bouquet of things which is available, and varied courses are available in terms. So I'll suggest that if you do your masters before jumping in the civil street, I think it helps rather than any other certification which comes.
Sir, speaking about this masters, what you are mentioning, can you elaborate about the executive MBA or the distance MBA, and how relevant they are if one wants to pursue them?
See, what I strongly believe, there are categories of also the officers who come in. So if I package these categories, I will put it into three categories. One is the short service officers. In our time, it was 5 years, 1 year of training plus 5 years of service, so 6 years total. And the senior officers who come after 21 years of service, right? So if I take these as two sets, and the third set would be from my side will be women officers, right? So if I take these three sets, because different things are available, though women officers and the short service officers, the things would be almost same. But these days there's a lot of focus on diversity and inclusion in organizations. So many organizations are focused to make career for women folks, and there are a lot of focus and impact there in that segment. Okay, so if I tell you about these certifications in terms of masters, starting from, see, today most of the colleges were working. So gone are days, and after COVID it was a very fast upstream on these things. So one is, if you are that person who really wants to understand what is the syllabus of a master's, then you have to go for a full time. Now, based on your service, based on either you leave the thing and do 2 years, and many officers I've seen they're doing it. Also, there are colleges like ISBs and all which gives you an MBA in 1 year, right? But how relevant it is investing a lot of money in that, because when I say any forces guys money, it has got not only no, it has got sweat, it also has got blood. So sweat and blood, that money, if you want to invest, then you have to be very clear and precise that what it is lending you. From my side, the way I see in the competencies and the skill sets, what a uniform brings to all of us, there is not much of learning, there is only much of alignment which is required. Okay, so more than a full-time MBA, I will always tell you for a executive MBA or a distance mode MBA, which is helpful. And these days, with a lot of platforms coming in with upgrades and many more like them, so it is, these things are easily available. But be very clear in terms of their approvals by UGC. One is that, why I'm telling you this, because once there is a role which is opened in the organization, and there is an educational qualification which is given. If it is an MBA, then your CV will, if you are not an MBA, your CV will not go to the next level if you are not an MBA. So an MBA is required, the masters, is required, because it is a rightful time. You come with a 30ish or 35ish year of experience, and that's how it is relevant in the ecosystem. You will find people would have done and dusted their MBA. Many are also going for their PhDs, by the way. Post COVID, there is a lot of vogue, for doing the PhDs, and that is doctorates. That is also in common. But my thing is, trust. First is you have to find out those colleges whose degree are quite relevant in terms of the ecosystem. And if it is a executive MBA, it is a distance mode. There is not a problem. You can go ahead with any one of them.
Sir, talking about different job opportunities for the armed forces veterans, can you brief us about the basic roles like project manager, program manager, which are basic roles that one should aim for?
So it before that is which industry you're working with, right? So as an IT industry or a manufacturing industry, aviation industry, FMCG, also the things differs. But if I categorize overall, if you come to a civil world, right, and many people get confused also with the designation. So if I categorize overall, in any organizations, generally the overall functioning categorization of an organization will have, there will be a top management. Now top management are called with different names, but if we call it a C suite or a CXO, right, where the CEO, the CPO, the CEO, the CFO, all these people are part of, right? So that is a senior management. No one will allow you to go to a senior management day one. Okay, so then different functions which is available. So one is the operation function, which comes, I think, for any army person, very clear and easy. Now operations, inside that there will be many sub things, and depends on which industry you work with, right? So either it will be a even startups, we have operations, right? So but if you say a typical operation per se, then you will have the supply chain management, right? Movement of things from A to B. In that, there is many organizations have a category called purchase. That is also a part of it, and many organizations, they put purchase as a function also under finance. So it depends on which sort of industry you work with. So you will have supply chain, you will have purchase, you will have general operations. So that is, if I say a typical operations, right, then that is one of the department. The second department would be finance, but in finance, none of the people from forces will be a best fit from day one, but because of course you don't have certifications of CAs and financial accounting mechanisms, what we have. So that, if I take it out, the second most important function, which is admin, where we most of us, we have run big installments, and we know institutions, and we know how it works, right? So these army establishments, sorry, not installment, army establishments, what we have seen working, or what we have run, right? So similarly, you will have a big office space where the maybe you run it with a partner, like you have many of them, like JLLs and CBREs, and many army officers, they work there. Or you have it is a department which is in the company itself. Okay, so you can be a part of that thing. So in admin, you will have three general functions. One is the security. Many times it is clubbed together with admin, or many times security is kept aside. Okay, so one is security. Second is facility, what we call it, and facility is nothing but the entire managing the entire establishment. Okay, so second is facility. And the third thing, in facility also, you will have canteens, you'll have if you have medical facility inside the establishment, you'll have to run that also. But of course these things are outsourced, so things are quite more professional and easy. And then you will have transportation. Now many companies, they provide transportation for either they have their own vehicles, or they have the vehicles being outsourced, right? So you manage that. So these three together becomes your admin. Then you have HR, of course. In HR also, again, depends on which company you're working with. In HR, you'll have segregations, like in HR streams, like talent acquisition, talent management, talent development, talent engagement, or in industrial relations, IR or ER. employee relations. So these are the segmentations where we work. But generally, a lot of officers also do work some in the field of training. But many times the trainings what we have seen in army, it's a bit different from what is acknowledged and needed here. So this is the space of HR, and then you will have marketing and sales. Many organizations, I've seen few of them, though not many army officers are working inside it, but I've seen some organizations where I've seen army officers just based on the drive what we have. Once the number is given, the scheme is shown to us, we have the drive to complete it. But if I say that from day one, you have the knowledge of marketing and sales, I will say no. So majorly, if I have to make you simple, your life simple, this is how the entire thing is spread. Project management, as you mentioned, project management, a project can be in any one of these departments. Okay, in whichever department you work, I'll say the entire life is a project. Every portion of a life is a project. And by the way, army guys are very good in this. Maybe we don't know the lingo and nomenclature, the way we deliver it, and when we are working. But once the way what are supposed to be done and what are not supposed to be done, we are very clear in that, right? My feeling is, we guys make great project managers in whichever department we work with. So this is, if I have to make your life simple, make everyone understand in a very simple and easy way, these are the categories of or departments which is available in any company outside.
Sir, please tell us about your current role as a Chief People Officer in Trucker.
So Trucker is a startup. We are 6 years old company. We started in India, and then we have expanded to 10 different countries now. Majorly, we operate in GCC and CIS. So if I have to tell you, we are like Uber of logistics or Uber of trucks, if I have to give you a very simple example. So we are an interface between the client or a customer and between the truckers. Okay, so we onboard truckers, we onboard the client, and we give them business, we connect the dots. So this is how we operate, long story short. So we are in India, we have our operations and tech backend. So that's how we are present in India. In GCC, we are present in countries like UAE, then we are in Saudi, Jordan, Oman, Bahrain, and then if we go further, then we are in Egypt. So this is how the structure looks like in Middle East. And then we go towards CIS, then we are in Turkey, we are in Kazakhstan, and we are in Poland. So almost we are like 600 plus company. We also have a fintech startup inside us, which we are grooming in, and of course it will be independent on its own. It is called Moxie. So this is the scheme of activities what we have. So what my role here as a Chief People Officer is lead the people function, from talent acquisition to talent management to development, to run the payroll, to think about the commitment philosophies, the compliances, the legal issues, what we have in different companies, and make this company ethical. And our plan is to go for an IPO in next 2 years to make this company grow strong, build its pillars, quite strong, and move with the current growth what we have to an IPO. So this is what I do, and I feel quite proud and honestly quite well engaged in doing this. So that is my role, and that's what I do in Trucker.
Can you tell what are the challenges that initially a startup, in terms of setting up the company, conceptualizing the idea, are being faced for the founder?
So see, rather, if I have to tell you and make you feel motivated today, the world is full of challenges, and coming from forces, that is the kick. We work in normal situations and circumstances. We work in most challenging and stressful circumstances. Compared to that, I think civil world, there is nothing much. However, when we conceptualize a company, we conceptualize the reason of a company, we conceptualize the purpose of a company. and the thing starts trickling from there. So you will have a team of one or two people who is so passionate and on taking it down to the last employee. It becomes the job of the entire team. The leadership team, what we call it. That is one portion, means the entire team works in one cohesive unit. Okay, that is one. Second is, of course, every startup or any company, not only startup, requires funding, and that is one uh, thing which is shown as a success of a company. However, once and that is not only the investment what you have, also the growth. And that is one of the things which is spoken a lot about a lot, and marketed and branded in a very filthy way, rather. I'll say it is too much. Like, if you say, are you a unicorn or not, and those things comes into a picture, what is your revenue and finances looking like. What I say is, more than the growth and expansion, there is a word called sustenance. That becomes more important. Okay, how strong is your company? All right. But in the current situation, I will not deflect from the question what you asked. So that is the second one. So one is making the entire team, second is on the investment, and third is again taking it further from there, the growth. How you you are okay doing the same thing in one country. Would you want to expand it in different countries? And every country is a different genre, it's a different culture, it is different legal practices, and different business scenarios, right? So that's what it is. And taking it further to an IPO, it is a different ball game. So when I add all these four things, making the team, investment, growth, and where you want to culminate to an IPO. So these are the four basic questions with any startup or the new age company faces with.
So please tell us more about how to manage the initial funding and how can we raise the capital.
This is too difficult a question, rather. It only depends on how strong and the great is the plan, how good is the team, and how cohesive and relevant is the idea, right? So rest, there is when I see, if people feel potential in your ideas and it is connected properly, okay, all the plan B's are ready, then the plan is, it becomes quite simple and easy. But of course, I have to give some credit to the finance department and the department which brings the investment. So it is a hands-on need of a guy who knows the tricks of the trade. But if you have a strong idea, a sustainable idea, an idea or a problem which you wanted to solve is quite relevant, there are people, of course, there will be failures, and I'm not telling you it will be a red carpet welcome, but there are ways and means. The ecosystem is quite fertile to help, and that's how it happens.
Sir, as a HR, please tell us about resume building and what are the relevant key words or the factors that one should must express or mention in their resume.
If I tell you, see, people get so finicky and so touchy on this resume. But see, the thing is simple. Till the time you meet a person, your resume or a CV is something which goes to a company, a person, an organization. Okay. So, and there is a role. So if I have to tell you, there is a role, there is a JD, job description, and job description has got some requirements, right? It is connecting those dots, and your CV will have some contributions, some summary, some details, right, which is pertinent or not pertinent to the JD. So the first thing is, if I have to spill the beans, if you put the algorithm, those words which are required, which is there, has to be, your contributions or experience must have that. And I'll not go any further, but that's what it is. But if one thing which I think we as people from forces, we are bad in, is putting the entire resume in one page, which is what you have done, what was your contribution in that, and how it quantumized, means a sort of a number which sums up this entire thing. So when I see there's a lot of English, there's a heavy CV for 3-5 pages. If we can make the relevant one page, and people should understand it, the most important factor is that. So today when I see there's a gap in understanding, and that creates some confusion. But of course there are many veterans, who are there helping people, and of course the industry is quite getting fertile now to veteran talent. So that is very much important. But remember guys, it is not the best CV gives you a job. The best CV only gives you an interview. Okay, so remember this point. Best CV only gives you an interview. So the CV is only pertinent to the interview. Once you are in the interview, then you will be judged on all the requirements of the job description, and with full respect and honor. People are very professional. If it fits in the scheme of activities, the job is yours. And then comes, of course, your ambition, your package, and your career and your role. Those things comes into it. So if I tell you, the CV or the resume is just a part of level one, and as I told, all the dots should get connected, which is there in a JD, which is every time shared, and your CV should be connecting to those words of the JD.
So now coming to the end of the interview, wherein the most critical part would be salary negotiation. So firstly, I would like to know what would be the minimum salary expectation for an officer leaving after 10 years of service, and how one should do the salary negotiation.
This is the most difficult question you asked me, and this is one question where most of the we as a people of uniform, people from forces, we are not great at, uh, because for us it comes that we are best in something and we should be acknowledged and given that thing, and that's how our grooming is. But in civil street, till the time you don't ask, you don't get it. Okay, and people, because I've seen now the salary structure of many companies now. So I see that there is a band, and you are given whatever based on your experience, and you're asking your ambition, your educational qualification, and your expertise, right? So there is a hell lot of ifs and buts inside that. So if I tell you what is the rightful salary of an officer, again, I I will not confuse you, but it depends on what is your capability. Okay, today the civil street is quite vast and varied, and in the current scenario post COVID, things are very open. You also have some deflections in the market where few companies also went and sacked people, but there are also many opportunities where we have hired a lot of people also. So I don't want to comment that what is the rightful salary for an officer, but of course, whatever salary at this moment, if I tell you, required in a civil street to conduct a rightful uh, life for a young officer, would be starting with a 30 lakh rupees, and I think that is quite doable in the market, in whatever role which you do. It extends from there to depends on how competent you are. But yeah, to start with, that can be one of the things which you can eye for. But uh, you know if you are rightful, 50 lakhs, 70 lakhs, and even 1 CR, it's quite easy to get if you are quite a person who is an expert and can add a lot of value in the organization. But these figures are quite relevant in the ecosystem. It's not quite huge a thing. If you know the job, they pay you well, no doubts about it.
So apart
I
from
don't
the
know.
qualification and the experience background, sir, what would be the other factors one should consider while negotiating a salary?
So there are many factors currently. There has to be an apple to apple comparison. Once whatever we are getting in forces, once you come out, money is only thing which defines your entire lifestyle. So when you sum those all perks and packages, what we get in forces, and how you want to conduct your life here, right? So to starting with that, see, the first and foremost factor is your competency. Okay, skill sets, competency, and okay. And then there's a band. In the band, you are in which percentile. It only depends on your passion, your knowledge, your experience. But if once you just come inside it, you don't have an experience, right? So you have to build your experience. So that something is a is a chance. But yes, if the company and the role is quite challenging, it fits in with your purpose of life, right? And this that is something which you want to do, give it a try. And as an HR guy, today is a International HR Day. I must tell you, there is enough growth. If the guy is doing good, we have different mechanism to take care of the person. Okay, but be very careful, if I have to tell you, on the offer front, because offer is not what is written. Of course, your cost to the company and the take home, which comes the gross net and everything is different. So that we don't understand, and we end up doing something in hurry, and after some time we think that this is not a justified thing. So be very clear in terms of fixed variable, the take home, how much it sediments down, and then take a call.
So can you give us the brief on this breakdown about the CTC and the take home? Generally, what is
No,
the
but
range?
it depends from company to company. I will not be here to summarize everything, but as I mentioned, that there will be a fixed component, there will be a variable component, there will be a retirement benefits, and then those things has to be taken out, the PFs, the gratuities, and all. And if I have to give you just a normal figure, generally your take home would be, depends on what salary bracket you are in, and in the tax bracket you are in. Whatever the CTCs, you will be generally getting 60 to 70% of your salary, divided by 12, and you get the monthly salary.
Okay, sir. Sir, apart from this resume building and the salary negotiation, how relevant is the networking in initial job hunting?
So one thing I tell you, and I keep on telling, not only to army folks, also to civil folks, LinkedIn doesn't get you job. Just getting in touch with people, or we have a word called executive presence, will not get you a job. It's only your competency, and that is relevant across. Either we are in army, we are out of army, and whatever it is. If we are not competent, we don't get a job. We hire people to do the job description. We don't hire people to make good connections, and we don't hire our friends and families. There is a job, which job has to be done in a rightful fashion and form, and we require the rightful people to deliver it. But of course, the connections help you get the interviews, at least get your CV at least to the interview. So that's what I wanted to clarify.
So what are the qualities of armed forces veterans upon which they should build their resume as well as plan their transition?
So you are asking me, tough question. See, the forces teaches you a lot of things, and we all know that the first factor is integrity, the officer like quality. But of course, one thing which we have, which is much needed in civil street, is agility, which sometimes we lack. So with our officer like quality, if we add agility and learning, then you are there. If you are very closed, and if you are not ready to learn, unlearn and learn, then it is difficult.
Any last word of advice you would like to quote for the officers under transition, sir?
So nothing, if you have done, if you're, my thing is, once you wear the uniform, and you are a warrior, you are a proven warrior, right? So civil street is welcoming, though we have to mature as a nation, as a country, to deliver on these things in terms of veteran hiring. But we are getting better for sure, compared to the West, where I have to tell you. But nowadays, the only thing is, connect to the people who are already there in the ecosystem, the veterans. Most of them will guide you in a rightful fashion, right? So that's what it is. And we help each other with, we take hand, the way, it was trained to us in the academy, that we all stand together and we deliver. So those things can be delivered in the civil street too. So if I have come before you, it is my responsibility to help a person like you, and then when you come, then you have to help another person. So that's how the chain is made, and that's how we can deliver a good veteran. We can make a good veteran community, and a good resilient veteran ecosystem, who helps each other, and even organizations are benefit in a very rightful manner, because I strongly feel that people from forces, if they bring their skill sets in the operations and in various departments which I mentioned, the organization can be pushed to a different level altogether. So that's what my, though it was long, but that was my closing remark for you for having.
Indeed, sir. Thank you so much for your valuable advice and the time that you have shared with us. I'm sure all the viewers will be benefited out of your experience, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a nice day.